Welcome to New Ham Basics. I'm your host, Greg, KD9ZRO. Um, we're not going to do any cuts today. Um, kind of a more serious matter than just talking about amateur radio. And you'll notice it is a little bit dark. That's because if I turn on this light behind me, right here, it'll be too bright. But I wanted to address a weather event that happened last night, somewhat local. I say somewhat local. It was actually over 40 miles away, but local enough that I was able to see it approaching, and I made a mistake at that point. I should have made a call to our weather service office and reported what I saw and what my thoughts were on it. Radar doesn't always tell them everything. And that's why Skywarn Spotters are so important. Radar doesn't always tell them everything. This particular storm, at the time that I saw it, really looked like nothing on radar. Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but it didn't look like anything on the radar. But from the ground and from the distance that I saw it, I knew it was going to be a problem, but I second guessed that. I even traveled further toward the storm and was even more convinced it was going to be a problem, but I still was a little leery of making the call. So a valuable lesson learned last night and this morning, throughout the night and this morning, if you're a Skywarn spotter, don't, under any circumstances, if you have the slightest inclination that a particular storm that you're looking at is going to turn out to be dangerous, go ahead and make that call. Don't hesitate. Reason being, I saw this storm anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour before it produced. I've had reports, heard reports from people in the area, produced 4 tornadoes, and I saw it roughly 45 minutes before. A report from the mayor of one of the cities that was hit said that he got the alert, and it was a matter of seconds that he had to get his family into their shelter. So, and another civilian said the same thing. They were eating dinner. He got the report, and a few seconds later, the sirens were going off. And of course, you know how the general public can be. They tend to think, well, it's just another text message coming through, and they read it, and it may say tornado watch, tornado warning. Well, it never happens here, and most of the time, it nothing really comes of it. So they continue eating dinner, and then they hear commotion is the word coming to mind, but that's probably not the right word. But they hear what sounds like a freight train speeding down the tracks, and he said that where he lives, you never hear trains, so that kind of alerted them to go ahead and take shelter. But we're talking a matter of seconds warning that this city had. The storms I'm talking about, it's let me double check the date here. Let's see. Okay, it is now March 15th of 2024. The storms that I'm talking about happened March 14th in Randolph County. I'm not going to give the cities because as of right now, last night listening on the scanners, I actually heard live on the scanners when county and state police blocked off all access into the city from the major highways anyway. So I'm not gonna mention the cities, but the tornadoes that moved through the storms that moved through overnight. Um, the only way to put it is that they produced an outbreak of tornadoes. Um, this particular storm cell, produced tornadoes in Delaware County and Randolph County, and I can't remember what the other neighboring county was, and moved on into Ohio and still producing tornadoes. Um, so it was a very dangerous system to come through last night. And like I said, the only way to describe it is it produced an outbreak of tornadoes, mostly in southern Indiana, which I had forgotten to mention. Um, I'm in Indiana, north central Indiana, north of Indianapolis. But, I spotted this storm cell from my hometown, and I knew it was way, way south, just for the simple fact that even where I could see the horizon, I couldn't see the horizon below this storm. And something immediately told me that, this is going to be bad. Some of my Christian friends may not like the terminology that came to mind, but I looked at it, I spotted it, and almost as quick as you could snap your finger, the thought entered my mind: holy shit. I mean, it was that prominent of a storm. And like I said, I didn't know at the time, but on radar, it really looked like nothing. So I should have made that report. That report could have gotten these counties and cities a little bit more warning, because it could have alerted the National Weather Service that, hey, this mundane looking cell up here is not what it looks like. But I didn't do that, and yeah, I come to you with a heavy mind and heavy heart because of that, but I'm not going to dwell on it. So anybody out there, don't be worried about my mental health over this. It is weighing on my mind and weighing on my heart, but I'm not dwelling on it. But the main thing I want to help dispel some misinformation that came out overnight. And this misinformation actually came out through the news sources, and it came out as being confirmed. There were reports of several fatalities. The city I was listening to on the scanner, there were actually a report of 3 fatalities, and these news reporters were reporting this as confirmed by state police. In a later press conference from the state police, that rumor, we'll call it, was dispelled. There were no confirmed fatalities. They did confirm there were at least 3 critical injuries, but no fatalities. Several injuries, of course, minor injuries, of course. Over 24 homes completely erased. Well over 100 more damaged. So there's a lot of destruction that came from this system, just in that general area, just in that one city. So, I'm going off the cuff here. Sorry. But to move on from that, now that I've dispelled this rumor, I mean, some of the news reports even went so far as to say, I think one actually mentioned the name of a trailer park, and some of them would say that those 3 alleged deaths were in a trailer park. Well, that's going to create undue panic. So I want to help dispel that. There were, according my last information from a press conference from the state police, there were no confirmed fatalities with these storms. I've heard different in Ohio, but I haven't researched that, so I'm not going to go there. But to tie this in with amateur radio, I did do a video, a short little video, I think it was like 5 or 7 minutes, where we listened to the scanners while looking at the radar map. Excuse me. And if you listened close and knew what to listen for, amateur radio operators are kind of the unsung heroes of a disaster. Um, that it's never directly said, and of course in the press conferences, they mention the police and the fire and the other emergency services, and if they get the National Guard in, they mention all the known emergency services, but us amateur operators, we get grouped in with the civilian volunteers. Okay. But, if you're listening to the scanners and stuff like that, and you know what to listen for, uh, there were amateur operators helping with communications. So, don't let anybody convince you that amateur radio operators are not useful. A lot of times we just tend to, like I said, get grouped in with the civilian volunteers and become kind of the unsung heroes of the situation. And I'm not saying that to bring glory to the amateur radio operators that do help, but there's a lot of misinformation out there that we're not useful in emergencies, and we're actually a lot more useful than we're given credit for, which is okay. I mean, we do it because we want to. We don't do it for glory. We do it because we want to. So, I just wanted to throw that little bit of information in there. Last night, there was so much commotion going on over the scanners that when Central Dispatch for the county was talking, sometimes you could hear the amateur radio net control operator also relaying messages right alongside the county dispatch. Um, some of the things that were being transmitted back and forth indicated that amateur operators were working with um, the the sheriffs, because that just happened to be the scanner channel I was listening to was the county sheriffs, and they'll pull resources from anywhere. You know, they are at this time asking that no more volunteers try to deploy to the area. They're still trying to assess the damage and assess the safety and where they might need help from volunteers. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this early enough to think you may be able to volunteer to help out, at this time, they are saying, wait, let us organize, and we'll get back to you on if and how and what kind of help we could use from volunteers. Um, so, and like I said, they blocked off access to the city, so don't try to be the hero and self deploy, because they're just going to turn you away. They haven't asked for outside volunteers, to my knowledge. They may in a couple hours when they do their next update, but at this time they're not asking for outside volunteers. And if you try to self deploy, then they're going to turn you away. So just wait and see if they do. But if you're in Skywarn and you're an amateur radio operator, I want to encourage you to get involved with your local areas and races. You can do that through your local EMA, your local emergency management. And of course, like I said in the beginning, something looks off. I don't care what the radar is indicating. Because in this example, the radar was insufficient, I'll say. Um, this was the case. Radar, just a rainstorm, maybe a thunderstorm. According to radar, that's all it was. When I saw it, it rapidly developed, which I kind of suspected. But on the ground, looking at it, you could tell it wasn't just a spring thunderstorm, and it was going to be a potentially dangerous storm. And I chose not to make that call to the National Weather Service. Don't do that. Even if you're wrong, at least you've alerted the local National Weather Service office to your concerns, and then they can at least take a look at that particular cell. They may decide to watch it, but always make that call. If you feel like you should make that call, just make that call. Even if, like in my instance, I saw it, I knew it was going to be bad, but I thought, well, now maybe it just looks worse than what it really is. Go ahead and make that call anyway, because I personally feel like, and I'm probably not the only spotter out there that made this mistake, but I personally feel like, had I followed through with my gut feeling and made that call, maybe they would have been watching that storm cell a little bit closer, and maybe those people would have got a little bit more warning. Obviously, wouldn't have done anything for the damage that it caused, but those potentially critical injuries, and in turn, the not nefariously, but those false reports of fatalities could have been avoided, potentially. So, and maybe even some of the minor injuries could have been avoided. There was I heard over the scanner, there was entrapment. So things like that could have been avoided if myself and enough other spotters would have called in and said, hey, this cell doesn't look very concerning on your end, looking at the maps and the radars, but I'm telling you, I'm on the ground. It looks a lot worse than what it's indicating. We need to be watching this. Then maybe they would have been. And maybe those people would have got the warning they needed. And on the amateur radio side of it, I found this out kind of the hard way last night as well. I had made the call out, and I'd talked to someone and said, hey, when storm spotters get activated, what frequency do I need to be on? And I was given a frequency that I'm normally on anyway, so I just, knowing the weather was going to be bad, I just went ahead and parked on that frequency and monitored and tried to make a few reports. And oddly, I couldn't get a hold of anybody, and we're in a situation where, they're saying spotter activation is likely. So it seemed a little odd to me why I couldn't get a hold of anybody. Later on, and this ironically happened about the time that these storms were doing their destruction, our weekly Aries Races net come up, and something was mentioned that got me to question. So after the net was over with, I called back our net control operator, and I said, hey, I wanted to wait till the net was over with, but you kind of left me with a question. And so I questioned, and I said, obviously we do our net on this frequency, but you said something about being checked in on the Skywarn net, and I've been parked here on this frequency all day because last I knew this is where I needed to be. And that's when I was informed that the Skywarn net was on a different repeater. So make sure you know what frequency and what repeater you need to be on, and I'd verify, if you have to, go to the EMA office and verify it with them. I don't think I was intentionally given incorrect information, but I was given incorrect information. So where I thought I might be helpful, I wasn't. And like I said, that explains everything about why every time I tried to make a contact and say, hey, we got a bad storm moving this direction. I see a hail core in it. I saw indications of attempts at rotation. I tried to make that report locally and couldn't, and that's why I had been mistakenly given the wrong information. I was on the wrong frequency and the wrong repeater. So be sure that you know what frequency and what repeater you need to be on. It's just it leaves you questioning when things like this go wrong, and it can happen. I'm not going to try to place blame on anybody. It can happen, but at least when things like this happen, it leaves you questioning what could have been done differently. Well, in my case, I was mistakenly given the wrong information on what repeater I needed to be on. I second guessed my observations. I chose not to make a phone call, and ultimately, um, people in the path of the storm weren't given adequate warning. Those are the things that went wrong. What went right was I was out there spotting. I was out there trying to make reports and observing. But like I said, more went wrong in this situation than went right. And through nobody's fault, really. The only thing I can fault anybody for was my decision not to make the phone call to the National Weather Service. So I know this has been a different video and a different topic and a different mood, but I wanted to address that. Like I said, I wanted to help dispel the rumors of, the what turned out to be false reports of fatalities with this particular storm. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave you with that. Make sure, as an amateur operator, you know what frequency you need to be on, what repeater you need to be on. As a spotter, don't second guess your observations and make that phone call. And above all, stay safe while you're doing what you do to serve your community. So, 73 KD9ZRO, clear until next time.